Memorial Day is the day that we take time to honor and mourn those who lost their lives defending our country. They paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedom. And for that, we thank you. This is Krusty K's here from the Go Boys Network, coming to you with the slate preview for May 27th. I want to give a quick reminder that you can find all of these odds at FanDuel Sportsbook. Without further ado, let's hop into this slate. The first one on our slate is the Boston Red Sox taking on the Baltimore Orioles. This is Cooper Criswell versus Cole Irvin. We have two teams in a travel spot here, playing early on a Monday. Baltimore coming off a series against the White Sox where they handle business. I look for them to keep rolling here. It's a tricky spot for me because I don't love backing Cole Irvin. So I think here I'm going to go with the Orioles team total. Bats seem to kind of wake up a bit outside of this game against Crochet, which once Crochet got out, we saw what happened with the bullpen. So I believe this team kind of found their stroke here, and now they get to go home to a place where they've, pretty much been hot for most of the season. So I'm going to back them to score some runs. Give me the Orioles team total here. I think it's a great spot for it. In terms of the Ks, I don't love either guy personally. Criswell under Ks could definitely be in play. Doesn't have a very long leash. And against this Baltimore team who's been doing some damage, we could definitely see him chased here pretty early. They usually back him up with that Bernardino. So we could easily see Criswell go, 4 innings and be done. Our next one is the Kansas City Royals taking on the Minnesota Twins. This is Alec Marsh versus Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan continues to struggle pitching at home, and for that reason, I'm going to back the Royals here. Alec Marsh, as much as I don't like him, as much as a lot of people don't like him, he's pitching really well, and he continues to impress. He's looked really good. He gets a spot here against the Twins team. The Bats, they're like league average right now. They were scorching hot against righties. They've cooled off a bit. Like I said, still around league average, but I like Marsh to be able to navigate this lineup here. He's overall just pitched really well. Impressed me quite a bit. And as we know with Joe Ryan, he has issues giving up home runs, relies way too much on his fastball. And this Kansas City team, man, they are putting bat to ball. That's one thing they are doing extremely well. And I think this is a tough spot for Joe Ryan. He's really, really struggled at home this season, shockingly. His ERA is like a full 3 runs higher. So give me the Royals here, plus money on the road. I think they get this one done to start this series. In terms of the Ks, I like Joe Ryan under strikeouts. Like I said, Royals, great at putting the bat on ball. Super K adverse. They are a bit worse on the road, but they're coming off a game where they rested some of their starters. So I like them to have their normal lineup in place, and I think Joe Ryan ultimately struggles here. Our next one is the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Chicago White Sox. This is Chris Bassett, and currently it has undecided. I believe it to be Nick Nastrini once again, who just pitched against this Toronto team up in Toronto. I'm not sure if that's confirmed yet. I couldn't get an actual confirmation on that, so bear with me with that. But for me here, the only way I'm going to go is the over. You get a White Sox team who bats at home are better, and they're going to see Chris Bassett for a second time here in roughly 5 days. So I like runs. And if Nastrini goes, we saw what Toronto did to Nastrini in the first start. I don't see how that changes here. They're going to get another look at this kid, and it's just a tough spot for him if he ends up going here. The White Sox really fed this kid to the wolves in terms of these starts. He's made 3 starts so far this season, and 2 of them, one of them against Toronto, one of them against the Phillies. So they are doing him no favors. If he makes another start here, playing Toronto twice within a week, I don't know what they're trying to do to this kid, man. So give me the over. Over's already pretty high, especially for being a White Sox game. So give me the over. Don't love either guy's Ks. Probably lean Nastrini under, because even if he does find a little bit more success, I don't see him being in this game very long. Our next one is the Chicago Cubs taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. This is Justin Steele versus Robert Gasser. So this is an interesting spot here because you have the Cubs who are slated to play in Sunday Night Baseball as I'm recording this, but the game has been delayed. They're expected to play it at some point because they don't want to cancel 2 games in the same series. So depending on how late this game today, goes off, I know they're not traveling very far. They're just going from St. Louis to Milwaukee, but it could be a really awkward spot for them because you're going to play at 3:10 in the afternoon, and you could be playing this game well into the late, early morning hours of tomorrow. So for me here, I'm going to lean Milwaukee in the money line. The game is pretty much a pick 'em currently. Total looks pretty low too, 7.5, which with Gasser, he's been pretty good. And this Cubs team not particularly hitting lefties well right now either, so I think it's a good spot to attack. I think Gasser can get some get it done. And like I said, it just feels like a really sleepy spot for this Cubs team, depending on if this game goes or not. Even if for some reason this game today were to get canceled, the Cubs obviously are hanging out at Busch Stadium until this thing is either going or not. So they're going to be in St. Louis for quite some time here. So sleepy spot for sure. And like I said, I just think Milwaukee gets it done, man. It's just an awkward spot for the Cubs. Definitely a spot where they're going to come in a little tired and think Milwaukee jumps on them early. In terms of Ks, though, I do love Justin Steele here. This Milwaukee team hasn't faced a ton of good lefties, and when they face good ones, they really struggled. So give me his Ks in this one, probably be like a 5.5. I'd be all over that. Hey guys, I just want to give a quick reminder that new users can bet $5 at FanDuel on any of the bets in this video and win $150 in bonus bets if the bet wins. Now let's get back to the bets. Our next one is the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Colorado Rockies. This is Xavier Curry versus Austin Gomber. This is a really weird spot because I've tried to fade the Rockies a few times, and man, they just, for whatever reason, are big-time coin stealers. So we get a Cleveland team who, in my opinion, has the lineup to really do some damage against Gomber here. But this, if you've been watching, this Rockies rotation has been unbelievable. They're just getting quality start after quality start from all these no-name starters. It's incredible, it really is. I don't know if it's sustainable. So for me, I'm looking at the Guardians here. I'll probably back them on the money line because they're going to go with sort of like a pseudo bullpen game with Xavier Curry starting. And I just think it's a tough spot for the Rockies to generate any sort of consistent offense when you're seeing a new pitcher, almost every inning after the first three, basically. So most guys are not going to see a pitcher more than one at bat. I'll roll the Guardians on the money line here, minus 135. I think it's a great price, super playable in my opinion. And very, very small lean to Cleveland Guardians team total. Like I said, it's just tough because every time I want to fade these Rockies pitchers, they come out and have an absolute masterclass. So I'm not really willing to, stare down the barrel of that one yet. But if we're looking like hitter props here, I love Josh Naylor. This guy just hits absolute tanks. If you haven't been paying attention, some of his home runs are absolutely hilarious. And so at Coors here, obviously, great place to hit home runs. Gomber, he's no stranger to giving them up either. So Josh Naylor for a bomb, I think it's a great play. I don't play a lot of home runs. When I do, I usually have a pretty good feeling about it. So Josh Naylor for a home run here for sure. Our next one is the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the New York Mets. This is Gavin Stone versus Tyler McGill. McGill looked really good against Cleveland in his first start. Absolute, lights out performance, and it really, really impressed me because I'm not a big McGill guy, but he looked really good. Gets a Dodgers team here who has to travel, so maybe a spot they could take advantage. For me here, though, I'm going to say small lean to the Mets on the main line solely because I'm not a big Gavin Stone believer. He's looked really good this season, but in terms of like the advanced metrics, there's a whole bunch of regression that could be on the horizon for him here. And I don't know, this Dodgers team just, they didn't look good against the Reds. I don't know if you watched any of those games. I don't know. Maybe they don't care right now. I don't know what it is. But this feels like a place where you can kick them while they're down, And they're going to get it going eventually. We know they have a great lineup. Ohtani's playing with a hamstring injury, so that doesn't help. I think the Mets take advantage here. Give me the Mets on the money line. In terms of Ks, don't love either guy. Gavin Stone, not a big strikeout guy. Gill, he can get him if the line's low enough. And the bottom of this Dodgers lineup has been super K friendly. So we'll see what kind of lineup they put out. Small lean to McGill over his Ks, but really like the Mets on the money line here to steal this one, first one of the series. Our next one is the St. Louis Cardinals taking on Cincinnati Reds. This is Lance Lynn versus Nick Lodolo. I like strikeouts here. I'm not a big Lance Lynn guy. This Reds team just can't hit. I don't know how else we're going to say it. They struggle. Whiff rate's relatively high. Top 5 in whiff rate right now. And you get a guy who is nothing but whiff, throwing fastballs and sinker cutters. And so I think Lynn can cover his strikeouts here. On the flip side, I think Lodolo can cover his as well. This Cardinals team, on paper, they're pretty good against lefties. But when you look at the list of lefties they've played, man, I'm not sure that you would ever bet the over for probably 90% of the ones that they faced. So with that being said, Lodolo is far and above the toughest lefty they're going to see to this point. And I attacked this spot with Lodolo when he played the Padres, and everybody was convinced the Padres were a super K adverse team against lefties. They hadn't played anybody. So you're kind of getting the same situation here. We're getting Lodolo, who's absolutely filthy, playing a team who hasn't played I would say a quality lefty in terms of Ks. So I think it's a great spot for Lodolo to rack him up. In terms of a side, you got to give me the Reds here. I hate their offense. They're not hitting right now, But I mean, Lynn's going to give up a few bombs. We all know that, even if he gets his strikeouts. And I just think Lodolo pitches really well. So I'll back the Reds here. Minus 135, the money line, man. At home with Lodolo, that's a no-brainer to me. Cardinals in that situation, like I was talking about, where, they're going to have to play late. So I'll roll with the Reds here. I think they get it done. Our next one is the Washington Nationals taking on the Atlanta Braves. This is Mitchell Parker versus Charlie Morton. In this one, I'm going to roll with the Braves. I don't love it, but they're facing a lefty. And, I mean, obviously we can't play on the money line because it's minus 200. So we'll go with the Braves, minus 1.5. Facing the lefty, Mitchell Parker, I feel like this is one of those games that's sort of a rude awakening for the youngster. He's pitched pretty well. He pitched good against Houston. I mean, obviously it's Houston. It's a great, but Houston's one of those teams, in my opinion, where they're so hot and cold, man. They can make anybody look good in any given night. For me, though, the Braves, especially at home, man, against lefties, this is the spot. So give me the Braves minus 1.5. I think they crush this kid. Morton, he's looked really good this season. Been pretty consistent overall. I like his stuff against this Nationals lineup for sure. So I think he pitches well here. I think the Braves get a big win. In terms of Ks, small lean to Morton over. I don't love it. Nationals are K'ing a lot more than they were in seasons past. But still a good enough team, like with zone contact. It's really going to come down to Morton's curveball. If he's got it working, he can definitely rack him up here. The next one is the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the San Francisco Giants. This is Taijuan Walker versus Blake Snell. I'm going to go with the Phillies. They're on the road here. You're getting them as a small favorite with Taijuan Walker on the mound. I'm just not sold that Blake Snell's all the way back yet. He's obviously going to be still limited in some capacity. This will be a very tough matchup for him. He came back to a pretty easy one facing the Pirates. And now you got to face the hottest hitting team in baseball, who's top 3 against lefties. They take walks, they put the ball in play. This is a really tough spot for Snell, in my opinion. So I like the Phillies on the money line here. I also lean to Snell under his strikeouts. Obviously, it's terrifying because if he's on, he's going to rack them up. But this Phillies team, man, they're just different right now. They're on another planet. And I like them to, put Snell in some tough spots and ultimately, chase him from this game relatively early.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Gold Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Gold Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Our next one is the Miami Marlins taking on San Diego Padres. This is Trevor Rogers versus Michael King. Padres at minus 175 on the money line, I think is hilarious because I don't think Michael King is deserving of that. So in this one for me, I'm going to go with the over. Trevor Rogers, we all know what you're going to get. 5 innings, probably max. He's going to give up some runs. We all know that. And then this Miami team, I mean, they're not like crushing righties, but they're above league average. And Michael King, as we've seen, has a home run problem big time. So guys like Brian De La Cruz, I think that's definitely in play here. Jake Berger, always good for, a nuke or two. I like this spot for runs. I like offense here. So give me runs. Don't love either guy. Michael King under his Ks. I think it's a great look. Overall, this Miami team has been super K adverse on the season, especially against righties, right around 19%. So a great team at the plate. And like I said, I think both teams can do some damage here. So give me a ton of runs. Our next one and last one on this slate is the Houston Astros taking on the Seattle Mariners. This is Framber Valdez versus Bryce Miller. For me in this one, I'm going to go with the Nerfy. I don't want to back either team. There's 2 teams who just steal my money religiously. So give me the Nerfy. I think both guys can get us 3 quick outs here, and we can go about our day. In terms of Ks, I love Framber strikeouts here. This Seattle team continues to make any lefty just look absolutely unbelievable. So I think Framber can rack them up. I think it's a great spot for Framber Ks. Wouldn't be surprised if he laddered here. But my best look in terms of a side would be the no runs in the first inning. I don't trust either side. Like I said, it's just both these teams, their bats are so hot and cold, man. Tough to trust either one and be super confident about it. That does conclude our slate. If you guys do me a favor, drop a like, drop a comment. I've been seeing all the comments. I love them, guys. Truly, I've been reading them all. we're going to keep this thing rolling. As always, you can get all my plays at goldboys.com. If you have a gambling problem, dial 100 Gambler. Thank you, guys.